got his password or hacked into data
stealing sensitive personal information.
Issues of security is passwords, but you really have other biometrics that really help us secure our computing interface.
Accounts protected purely by the passwords are easily to be breached because attackers can simply steal them or guess them. Passwords can be compromised in multiple ways, for example through brute force attack, phishing attacks, or dictionary attacks, and much more. Two-factor authentication provides an additional layer of security for your online accounts and protects them against unauthorized access. Therefore, it is crucial to enable two-factor authentication on all of your online accounts. Setting it up takes only a few minutes, and having your accounts more secure can really give you peace of mind. In today's video, I'm going to showcase you how to set up two-factor authentication with Google Authenticator application for your Linux SSH server. As a first step, we will run sudo apt-get update command, which will allow system to connect to configure package remote repositories and update the local package cache with updated information, so that we can proceed with download and installation of the latest version of required software packages and all its dependencies for securing SSH access with two-factor authentication for this Linux server. With the following command, sudo apt-get install libpump Google Authenticator, we are basically installing a pluggable authentication module, Google Authenticator, which will allow us to simply use Google Authenticator app as second-factor authentication method for our Linux SSH service. To force SSH use the Google Authenticator pump module, we need following two changes. So first of all, we need to change the line in main SSH daemon or SSH daemon configuration, the challenge response authentication option value to yes. This value basically instructs the system to use two-factor authentication for users logging into system remotely using SSH. By default, this option is disabled, which means that two-factor is not being used for SSH connections. As a second thing, to enable SSH to use second-factor authentication, we will add required pump Google Authenticator.so into pumpd SSHD config. This config specifies what authentication methods are used when user connects into the system via SSH. The required keyword specifies that the module is required for authentication to be successful. Once the two-factor authentication is enabled for SSH, user will be required to provide an additional authentication factor when connecting to the system via SSH. This could be one-time code generated by mobile app or biometric factors such as fingerprint. Now, in order for our changes to be effective, we need to restart SSHD daemon the following command: sudo systemctl restart sshd.service command. So what is Google Authenticator? Google Authenticator is an app that generates one-time passcodes that you can use as a second authentication factor when logging into the system. The OTP authentication mechanism integrates well with Linux PAM pluggable authentication module framework system. As you can see, the Google Authenticator app, when it is executed, it writes a file called Google Authenticator to the user's home directory when setting up two-factor authentication. This file contains the secret key that is used to generate time-based one-time passwords. Also, the Google Authenticator app generates emergency codes. Those are one-time use codes that can be used as a backup authentication method when using two-factor with Google Authenticator app. Those are generated by the app and can be used in situations where the user is unable to use the app to generate a time-based one-time passwords, such as when, for example, the phone is lost or is simply damaged. Now, let's download Google Authenticator application and add our secret key to make it working. Google Authenticator app is an application that is available for iOS and also Android devices. This is like two-factor authentication application that is used to secure accounts, various accounts, for example, Meta, Facebook accounts, Dropbox, or your Google accounts, and much more. In order to download and install this application, simply navigate to App Store and search for Google Authenticator. This application is free of charge. In order for two-factor authentication to be working, we need to exchange secret key between the device on which one-time codes are generated and the system on which this PAM module is enabled. Throughout the Google Authenticator's app setup wizards, we will be asked to configure options for time skew and rate limiting. Those are two-factor authentication options that helps ensuring the security and more reliability of two-factor authentication when using the application. So what is the time skew? Time skew is basically maximum allowable difference in time between the user's device and the server. So we'll agree to have this as a maximum 4 minutes. The Google Authenticator app also allows users to specify rate limiting threshold, which is the maximum number of login attempts that can be made within a specified time period. If basically users exceed this rate limiting threshold, their login attempts will be blocked for a specific period of the time. So we are going to agree with 3 login attempts each 30 seconds. In order to provide even more security for our Linux SSH server, we can install applications such as fail2ban, which will allow us to protect our servers from brute force attacks, or we can configure our firewall in a way that it will block the SSH attempts from the external IP address that is making too many failed authentication attempts, so that we can stop attackers guessing our passwords. To connect to the Linux system, user now needs to provide the static defined password and also one-time generated passcode generated by our Authenticator app. And if both authentication methods are successful, user is granted access into the system. And that's all. It's simple as that. So see you in the next video.